everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Jurassic News! And we've got a lot to cover. Yes, we're keeping the red aesthetic. I like it, okay. The biggest thing, or one of the biggest things we have to cover today, and that is Rebirth Island. We've been calling it Rebirth Island, we call it whatever you want to call it, Site C, Rebirth Island. It has a name, and this name comes from a data mine from our favorite app game, Jurassic World Alive. Now, in this game, data mines have been happening pretty much every other week, basically, because people in that game need to know what dinosaurs are coming out, so they know what DNA to get, so that then when the dinosaur does come out, they can max it up and make it really good, because it's a pay-to-win kind of game, and you need to have the most meta teams. But in doing so, they actually found a dinosaur called Tyrannosae, or Tyrannosae, or something like that. And the description reads as this: this scourge of Isla St. Hubert is the product of failed experiments by unknown scientists. In other words, we saw in the trailer that the scientists were experimenting on dinosaurs. They made the Mutodons, they made Distortus Rex, and we now have the name of the island. Now, Isla St. Hubert. I don't know. It's sat in a cupboard eating its whey and rye. Is that the rhyme? Something like that. But I don't know. St. Hubert just seems a bit boring. But hey ho, it's supposedly it fits into the Caribbean because there's a lot of saint named islands over there. So geography-wise and realism-wise, it makes sense. But I don't know. I just like the ominous Isla Sorne, Isla Nublar, Isla St. Hubert. But not only do we get this line from that data mine, we also get a little bit of introduction to what this Tyranno SE or CE is. This is, I think it's to do with a battle system that everyone has to try and take this thing out, which is interesting. Though little is known about this creature, genetic samples suggest it combines T-Rex, Ceratosaurus, Hydroboa, and Lux creature lineages, and seems to draw its strength from the island itself. So there has been thoughts that this is Distortus Rex's placeholder, and it would make sense that they would hide the name of Distortus Rex. For one, for spoilers, and for two, if something like this was to ever happen. It's the whole reason why every movie has had a name it goes under. Ancient Futures was, I think, Fallen Kingdom's working title. So there's a chance that we now know the ingredients for Distortus Rex. A chance. Now remember, if you've ever played Jurassic World Alive like I have for years, they make other dinosaurs related to things. You've got Indominus Rex Gen 2, you've got Indoraptor Gen 2, you've got all of these Erlicogama, all these weird and wonderful hybrids that have no presence in the movies but exist in the game. So it's possible that this is just like a raid battle, it's a PvE sort of situation where everyone takes on a raid boss. But it would also make sense if in order to get the Distortus Rex DNA, you need to defeat it. And that means that basically, you're going to take ages to get it, or at least you need some sort of T-Rex DNA. I'm assuming it's the new T-Rex, not a T-Rex. There's plenty of them already in the game. Ceratosaurus, which if I remember right, is a unique dinosaur, so that's a hard one to come by. Hydroboa, which you can only get from doing boss fights, and other Lux creatures. So we kind of have, if this is Distortus Rex, we have its ingredients. Now, in Jurassic World Alive, possibly hinting towards Jurassic World the game, and maybe the movie. I really think you're clutching at straws if we're thinking oh, that's it, confirmed. These are the dinosaurs that was used in the movie. I think just to tie it in and make it, accessible for these games. Speaking of amazing new images, we got a bunch of new posters come out, because now we had the second trailer. This was obviously the final event for them to start pushing massively when it comes to the new movie. We've had people reporting that they're seeing adverts crop up. I'm sure if you've watched some of my videos, you may have seen an advert for Rebirth. It happened when Jurassic World Dominion came out. There was loads of adverts on my channel, which makes sense, I suppose. But hey ho, this looks glorious. We've got some other ones. We've got a Korean poster there as well. Always interesting to see how the international audience advertise the movie to different kinds of demographics. We see that with China all the time, and it's very questionable how they advertise. It's very, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. Star Wars, yes, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, yes. But then, of course, now that we've had the push for advertisements, toys are appearing in the real world, in our world. And this, I've only seen one person. This is from Newbar7, who managed to get some Jurassic World Rebirth plushies today. Indoraptor was in there as well, and the tush tag, they call them tush tags, so I know a little bit of collectors in the plushie arena. It says Jurassic World Rebirth for Indoraptor. So is that it? Oh my god, Indoraptor! It's confirmed for the Rebirth! It's not. Okay. This happens all the time. They always put like a dinosaur from a different franchise, and we'll see that before. I'll be like, hey, I'll eat my words. I'll eat something Jurassic World related if it does happen that an actual Indoraptor is in the movie. But we have Indoraptor, we have the Spinosaur, we have the Aqualops, and another T-Rex. Now that, you can book your tickets at your cinemas, they are vying for your money in some really creative ways. I'll give them credit. I think these are all American theaters. Unfortunately, when it comes to consumerism, nobody does it best like America, unfortunately. But we've got one from AMC Theaters, we've got an Alamo Draft House, and we've also got Regal. If I was in America, I'd be booking all of them. I'd be getting all of the merchandise. But, I've got my fingers crossed for Japan. It'll make a cafe, I'm hoping. And of course, we'll get to go to the parks as well, because there's a certain event. But what do they give you? And if you're only going to buy one ticket, what should you get? Well, I mean, AMC Theaters seems to give you a free InGen ID card. Always really cool. I'm always a sucker for merchandise that looks like it could exist within the lore or the movie. So having an ID card, and it's not just a recycled one, because those have been on eBay and people have made them for ages, like the old school Jurassic Park ones. This seems to be from the new InGen, and there's this joke out there that InGen changes its logo every movie, and it does, for some odd reason. For a company that, would just have one logo, they like to change it a lot. And then we have Alamo Draft House, which comes with some pint glasses. I think there's also another company that has like a T-Rex popcorn head or something like that. But by far, what I think has had the most thought and effort put into it is this Regal incubator dual container. So you put your popcorn in this incubation suspended animation embryo state area, and then to the right of it you've got a drink holder. I'm assuming you just put the drink in, put the top on, the straw goes through. So you don't have to it's not filled up from the plastic. I'm sure the drink's just sat in there. I think that's really cool, and I'd love to get my hands on that. I'd love to get some paints and just sort of, make it look weathered, make it look old and aged. That would look awesome. So out of all of them, I think the gold medal has to go to Regal for and of course, I'll probably put it up, the videos that they've put out as well. They put loads of effort into that as well. So hats off to them. They did a great round of applause. Well. But then moving on to something surprising. This came up in my feed, actually. You may have seen the parasaur image that floated around a long time ago. I've covered this couple, or at least the guy, in a previous Jurassic News segment, and he lives in Thailand and was vacationing, I think, or lives around about the area where Jurassic Rebirth was filmed. A lot of the tall grass scenes, a lot of the island scenes were filmed there. And he managed to... He was basically the leak. He was the guy who took pictures of the Parasaurolophus and all that jazz. But I highly recommend checking out this video. I'll put a link in the description down below, because they managed to go to the places where they filmed. They were I think they were just like following them the whole time. It's what I would do, I'm a huge Jurassic fan. So they managed to scrounge so many props that were just left there. Now to the production company, this is just painted styrofoam, but to fans, they're more than that, and they managed to collect some great stuff. There was also a pile, if you're watching the video, I'll not show much of it because I suggest go and check it out. tell them I sent you. There was a pile of just rubbish that had been, you know, obviously taken from the set and just left to be recycled or trashed. And they managed to scrounge some really, really nice pieces. This is a gorgeous bit. I don't know if they managed, if that's the legit Scarlett Johansson chair, as well as just a regular Jurassic World 4 saga chair. But if those are legit, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good find. Some interesting things came out of this. So that bit where the raft comes out in the trailer turned out to be an emergency supply shed. So it wasn't an exit, or maybe it could have been an exit, but that seems to be just, you know, a bit like in the olden days, seafarers would have supply huts in case they got stranded on an island and they could live there until they were rescued. Same thing seems to happen there. And also they got the parasaur guts, they got parasaur claws, and they got so many cool things. And you can book if you're ever in Thailand and you want to have a tour of this, and I'm sure they'll tell you all the stories. And that's what I love about it's definitely people who are passionate about it. And again, if you want to see it, check in the description down below. I highly recommend it's worth a watch. And back to Captivz. These came out, I think, during Fallen Kingdom, and they were a product of the fans. We wanted something like this. We got mystery bags in Jurassic World before Universal really thought about actually listening to any sort of feedback. And these have gone from strength to strength. They are amazing little pieces. The only thing I don't like about them is the bloody slime. It's enough plastic and litter you're putting into the world. A slime it's just, come on. But if we take a closer look at the dinosaurs that are appearing on here, we have the Pierce, the Kentrosaur from Camp Cretaceous. We have a Jurassic Park 3 raptor. Now, I've mentioned in the past that there's possibly another raptor out there. It seems like the raptors in this movie are going to have a very small role, which some people are not happy about. But that's, to be seen whether it's good or bad, for the movie. But it appears this is a female raptor, as the male raptor that we've seen in all the advertisements seems very similar to the Jurassic Park 3 raptor. We have two different. Now, you could say, well, one's just rare, and it's got the flock, which is that Sylvanian families thing. It's like really fine hair. But I think there's more to it than that. If you look at the difference between these two D-Rexes, one of them's longer, and it seems to be taller, and the other one's more compact, and it's almost as if it's got the dimensions of a baby. Its face is more smushed in, its limbs are shorter, its tail's shorter. So I think not only are we looking at just a different variant of a D-Rex, but we're looking at a baby version. And there's been rumors that there's going to be multiple mutants and stuff like that. And I always thought that, especially after seeing the trailer, Distortus Rex, and then we saw the toy, which was a completely different color, I thought to myself, maybe the toy's like a different D-Rex, and maybe we'll get the colossal version of the D-Rex. But that all remains to be seen. And I just thought that was quite interesting to put out there. But one of the amazing things that comes out of these Captivz, are they called Captivz? I've got like a set up here. Where are they? Oh no, I've got one here. This is the 30th anniversary, and you can see I got it in the Philippines. As you can see, this was 999 pesos just for this. These are super expensive in the Philippines. Maybe we'll open them eventually. But what they do come with is beautiful collectible cards. And Chris Pugh was one of the people who talked to the production side of things and suggested doing stuff like this. Because if you remember, back in the day, the old Kenner toys, each toy came with a collectible trading card. And now, since Fallen Kingdom, I'm pretty sure, and definitely Dominion, we get these beautiful works of art. And I'll link in the description down below if you want to see the artist who made them. Jaroslav, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name there. And he did all the ones on the 30th anniversary. The only downside is that they're in these eggs. And that means that they're never flat, they're always crumpled somewhat, and it's such a shame, because they are absolute masterpieces. If I was in control, I'd have them come in like a little sleeve attached or something like that, just to make sure, we're in the age of these cards, and I don't know, you're grading them and everything, and he's obviously spent a lot of time and effort and work on these, and another beautiful, beautiful addition to the merchandise side of things. And then we got more Captivz, and these aren't eggs this time. These are dinoramas. I didn't see what you did there. But a lot of them, or there's 3 of them, I think you can get them in a set together. They show a lot about the movie that we haven't seen before. So if you look at this one, for instance, this is the Mosasaur Dinorama, you can see the boat, the Delgado's yacht that gets sank, that, the rest of them, Zora Bennett and her cohorts, managed to save them at the top. I think that boat comes separate and you can just place it on top there. You take a closer look, you've got dead dinosaurs on the ocean floor, you've got Spinosaurs swimming in the background, but you've also got landmines. Oh, sorry, sea mines. That'd be weird. Landmines in the ocean, oh my god. So floating sea mines. Are we going to see that? Is this a way to try and keep the Mosasaur away from, or other ships away from this island? Did InGen plan sea mines? Possibly, but that's not the only one. We've also got this. This is the T-Rex Dinorama. And you can see, this is where the raft gets taken out. That on the right, that's the emergency bunker or supply shed. You've also got a CG version of the... It was supposed to be a Myosaur. Now, we know it's a Parasaurolophus now because we've seen it in the trailer. Did we see the trailer? We've never seen it in one of the behind-the-scenes thing and official Empire Magazine screenshots. But you get a T-Rex with it. I hope you get a T-Rex, unless you just get the Dinorama themselves. And you get a little raft and a tree that goes down. Nothing really too much to show there, but it does appear that at one point this was supposed to be a different dinosaur until it got changed to a Parasaurolophus, until they remembered actually Parasaurs are really cool dinosaurs. And then you have the Quetzalcoatlus Dinorama. Connect and build a Jurassic World, showcasing a bit of the Aztec ruins, some climbing ropes there, and then the nest, because of course people, kids, I say people, but adults in their 50s will want to take the little toy and be like, oh, get the dinosaur DNA. That'll be me in 20 years. And then we got this. I saw this floating around the internet. It's not real. And I don't think it's made by Lepin, which is, I think it's the Chinese knockoff Lego. I just thought I'd put it in there because it's not real. But I think what we will see is something very similar to this. We'll see the most expensive Lego set for Jurassic that has ever existed. And it will 100% come with a D-Rex. It'll come with a Mutodon as well, which is interesting because they do have a petrol station with a raptor already, but we now know that's actually where we do see raptors for a second, but then the Mutodons come out as the raptors run away. But I think we're going to see a D-Rex. I don't believe we'll get this sort of weird thing. We'll get a custom sculpt. At least I hope we get a custom sculpt. And that's not all for merchandise. No, we've got Funko Pops, or already mutated kind of toy. Lends itself quite well to some dinosaurs. It's really interesting here. If you look at Titanosaur and you look at D-Rex, their heads are pretty much the same. So I wonder if there's any correlation between the Distortus Rex and Titanosaur, genetics-wise, possibly. If you're a fan of Funko Pops, I mean, look at the number, 1,800. I don't know if that's in total. There's been 1,800 Funko Pops. I could believe that. I could also believe that there's 10 times as many Funko Pops because, oh my god, I still can't believe these things are going with their soulless eyes. It lends itself well to dinosaurs, but the amount of human characters with these soulless eyes, I've never understood it. But hey, if you're a fan of Funko Pops and you're a fan of Jurassic World Rebirth and you collect these, they look pretty decent. The Mosasaur's a weird color. I don't get the green, but unfortunately, we've got to end on, well, not ending, but we've got some bad news. If you remember 3 months ago, oh, I can see it there, I made a video on a remake for Jurassic Park Builder, and it looked really cool, and I was looking forward to seeing how it was going to go. About a month ago, they got served a cease and desist from Universal, citing that they were using licenses that they don't have, license for, and intellectual property. And yeah, who didn't see this coming? Of course they were going to get cease and desist. This is not the first time Universal, the Jurassic franchises went after a fan game, or in this case, using already made assets. And I think as well, the team was taking donations on the Itch.io page. So they were profiting from this whole project in some regard, either way. They are going to move on from this. They're going to try and make their own game, but we'll see how that goes. And the most important news that you want to know is my apothecary. It is finished. Here it is. Look at my apothecary. I finished it. This only took me about a week working on and off, but it is done. I know that's why you watch these Jurassic News videos, is you want to see. So now I'm starting on my lieutenant, which has a storm shield and a Volkite pistol or something like that. It's my last character I need to do, and then I got to do the troops. Good God, it takes a long time to do this Warhammer stuff. But anyway, guys, leave in the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on how the merch is going. Do you think that they should have been releasing more trailers, more snippets, or do you prefer what they've done? Is wait till closer to the time and then a massive push? Anyway, guys, I'll see you in another video. Oh, bye bye.